What is up? This is Ant from the Uncensored Pro Wrestling Podcast, and today we have a special episode in our Broken Skull Session series recap. Stone Cold Steve Austin will be meeting with Olympic gold medalist and Hall of Famer Kurt Angle. I'm so excited to cover this. Let's jump right into it. We start off with Kurt Angle talking about his neck injuries and all of his neck problems. Kurt Angle talks about how he had a match with Stone Cold in Fresno, California. Stone Cold blew him up, which basically means that they make that wrestler tired. Stone Cold was intense and aggressive, and Austin was a very good in-ring general, and both Angle and Austin laugh about that moment where Austin made Kurt tired, because that doesn't happen often for Kurt. They talk about the 1996 Olympics, and during the final match, the referee had to pick the winner because both Angle and Jade were tied. Jade was the best, and Kurt Angle tore his groin during this match. The Olympics were a trying time for Kurt. His coach was murdered. He broke his neck before the Olympics. He would get Novocaine before a match and go on an hour later, and he would be in a lot of pain later on in the afternoon. So he would fight with Novocaine, so he wouldn't really feel any pain. Later on, the pain would pop up. Kurt is the youngest of 6 brothers, and his brothers were like coaches and taught him a lot growing up. Vince McMahon reached out to Kurt Angle and offered him a 10-year deal. They told Kurt Kurt initially said no, because he wasn't sure about it, and then he eventually said yes, and they told him that he would have to try out. Then Shane Douglas gives Kurt Angle a call and tells Kurt that there's an Olympic-style wrestling company that he should come. Kurt does. He shows up to the Extreme Championship Wrestling, ECW. And Kurt just remembers getting upset because there was a scene on that episode of ECW where a wrestler was getting crucified, and he didn't like that. During Kurt's tryout with WWE, Jim Ross stopped him halfway during the tryout and said, "We need to sign this kid." We see footage of Kurt Angle training with Dr. Tom Pritchard and Dory Funk Jr. Kurt learned to bump and sell before he showed his aggression in the ring. He wanted to show he could sell and bump properly before he would beat up other people. Kurt didn't know some of the guys were going to receive him. He had to learn to respect main eventers. He remembers Stone Cold would watch every house show match from behind the curtain, and Kurt Angle started to do that too, to see what moves were being used, what wasn't, what the crowd liked. Before Kurt Angle came out, Vince McMahon worked on him with his promos. Kurt got into the business because of Stone Cold Steve Austin. He thought that Austin was cool. And during the promos, Kurt Angle realized that Vince was trying to build him up as a heel. He thought that he was going to be a babyface. It's like Kurt's like, Vince, someone's going to like this. Vince knew Kurt Angle was going to be heel. Vince told Kurt Angle before his first promo to do it. He didn't give him a script, and he just went out and said what he had to say. And Vince McMahon also told Kurt Angle that after you win your match, treat every win like it's like you won the Olympic gold medals every single time. So that's why he would, celebrate the way he did. Kurt Angle was happy to be on TV. He worked his way up with wrestlers like The Godfather, Val Venus, YJ, Chris Jericho. Vince McMahon wanted Kurt Angle to continue to cheat to win, and Vince took time to build Kurt Angle's character. Kurt had a photographic memory and could do promos. He started It's True promo when he would make fun of talents and say a true statement about that current city. He always had a good relationship with Vince McMahon. It was like a father-son relationship. Kurt Angle didn't have a good sense of the business at the time, and he wishes that he could go back and, sort of get that. Kurt then won King of the Ring. He won the European title, the Intercontinental title. He worked and lost to the Undertaker and the Big Show. And then Vince McMahon would go on and tell Kurt Angle that he would fight The Rock in 10 days and win his first ever WWE Championship at No Mercy 2000. Kurt Angle pretty much followed everybody his first career in the ring. He would let everyone else tell him what to do in the ring. Winning the WWE title made Kurt elated. He succeeded in something other than amateur wrestling and made him feel great. He would go in and fight great ring generals like Stone Cold, The Rock, Triple H, The Undertaker. And Stone Cold brings us to SummerSlam 2000. They talk about the pedigree table botch. Kurt Angle landed face first onto the concrete. And Triple H pretty much helped lead the last 30 minutes of that match because Kurt Angle was pretty much knocked out. He then talks about kissing Stephanie McMahon Helmsley, and that moment made him the top heel. And pretty much Vince directed the entire scene. He was there. And after the moment, Stephanie told Kurt that he kissed like a dead fish. And Kurt's like, I didn't do anything seriously because Vince was there. Like, I'm not going to really try to, like, do anything. So Kurt always, found that funny. So then we go to King of the Ring 2001. It was always snug with Shane. Kurt Angle's kendo says that the kendo stick shots hurt really badly. Kurt broke his tailbone getting hit with a suplex on the ramp. He had 3 broken bones and a broken neck. Shane McMahon has so many stitches, and Kurt put Shane on a crate during the match because he couldn't hold him and walk him down. Kurt believes he had a great 2-year run from 2000 and 2001, and both Stone Cold and Kurt got injured at King of the Ring 2001, so they were paired up together. We're going to take a really quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the comedy between Kurt Angle and Stone Cold Steve Austin, Kurt's career in 2002, his time, the rest of his time with WWE, leaving WWE for TNA, his issues with drugs, and much, much more. Stay tuned. The Uncensored Pro Wrestling Podcast family would like you to check out Anchor.
With Anchor, you can record, edit, and publish your own podcast for free.
Distributing your podcasts has never been this easy with Anchor, which allows you to send out your podcast to platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and much, much more.
Get uncensored and download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Okay, welcome back. We are on our Broken Skull Sessions recap with Kurt Angle. Kurt talks about, being paired up with Stone Cold, and he has the funny cowboy hat that the two wore in a segment. And Kurt bought that hat at an airport terminal, or I think it was Stone Cold that bought it actually. And they talk about doing silly stuff, and doing the silly stuff with Stone Cold changed Kurt Angle's character. He loved getting on Stone Cold's nerves. We see when Kurt Angle won the WWE title at Unforgiven 2001 in his hometown of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. His 2 biggest attributes were winning the Olympics and winning the WWE title. Kurt Angle wasn't supposed to be champion at Unforgiven, but he went to Vince McMahon and said, after 9/11, I think it would be, cool for an Olympic hero to win the title. And Vince said, we will have to ask Stone Cold, and Kurt did, and Stone Cold said, sure. We then see the birth of the "You Suck" chant, where, Kurt feels like the what chant sort of led up to "You Suck." During the draft split, Kurt Angle felt like he became a locker room leader. Triple H told Kurt he was great and believed he was awesome, and he couldn't believe it. He felt great to hear that from someone like Triple H. He got a reputation of being one of the greatest workers in the business. Then Kurt Angle broke his neck in February 2003. Brock Lesnar ran, and Kurt Angle's neck fell off the post. Kurt Angle had a doctor clear him for WrestleMania, and the day after WrestleMania, he got surgery on his neck. At WrestleMania, Lesnar missed a shooting star press finisher. He ended up landing a F5. If Brock Lesnar likes you, Brock would be a great seller for you. Kurt respected Brock Lesnar. Guys would try to joke and say, to Brock, would you take on Kurt Angle? You're not Olympic, you're NCAA. And, Brock would say, well, I could take Kurt, and Kurt would have to confront Brock. He remembers taking down Brock Lesnar in a takeover. They talk about the Fight from Hell, and Vince McMahon and Kurt Angle were taking each other down, and they were almost near the airplane door to open it. It was just a crazy, crazy night for him. Kurt Angle and Eddie Guerrero had a brother relationship. They would hug one night or fight the next night. After Eddie Guerrero got injured in WCW, Eddie Guerrero wasn't the same. He was different. He couldn't get moving. He would blow up fast, and no one knew that it was his heart that was causing this problem for Eddie. So Kurt wanted to shake Eddie's hand after a match, and Eddie claimed Kurt was stiff and to him in the ring. And Kringle said, "Eddie, I didn't even touch you." Eddie pushes Kurt Angle 3 times. Kurt applies a rear naked choke on Eddie, and then the Big Show ended up lifting both Eddie and Kurt up and separated them from 2 sides of the room. He felt like his match was at WrestleMania was a classic. During the days, Eddie didn't look good outside of the ring, but he believes Eddie was one of the greatest in the ring. They talk about a sexy Kurt promo, and Vince McMahon told him to do that dance. He talked about his WrestleMania 21 match with Shawn Michaels. They never practiced. They talked about the match. They went over one move, but they never fought before or practiced. Shawn Michaels, if Kurt Angle remembers Shawn Michaels telling him before the match, "I'm not afraid of you." And he's like, "Oh, if something breaks out, it's going down." And Kurt was like, "Well, what the hell did I even do?" Right? So Kurt believes that Shawn Michaels is the greatest in-ring performer he's ever been in the ring with. Shawn Michaels tells Kurt, "You're going to get over to get the win. Because I know you're going to SmackDown. You're going to be taking on Batista, so I'll let you win this." His favorite match was his WrestleMania match with Shawn Michaels. Kurt then goes on to talk about his battle with painkillers. He started taking 20 Percocets and Xanax. He texted Vince McMahon saying he would beat him up. He broke his neck for the 4th time. He fought Undertaker at No Way Out 2006. And Vince wanted to put Kurt Angle in ECW, and Kurt Angle had it. And Vince McMahon didn't want to release Kurt Angle. So Kurt's like, "I hate to say this, but I told Vince, if you don't release me, I think I'm going to kill myself." And Vince released him. Kurt felt his time was done, and he went to TNA. He also feels like John Cena became Vince McMahon's guy. And, he remembers the time where Kurt was told he was going to be in the Marine movie. Kurt wanted this. He wanted to leave, do rehab, take a break from wrestling. And then he remembers Vince saying that he gave the roles to John Cena. Kurt Angle overdosed one time, and Vince McMahon told him, "Fuck sleep. You will sleep eventually. You don't need to take all of those pills." So Kurt went to TNA taking Xanax and sleeping pills. Everyone there in TNA drank, so he mixed the Xanax and drinking. He had 4 DUIs in 5 years. His wife Giovanna told Kurt that she would leave him if he didn't get clean, and Kurt Angle has been clean and sober for 7 years at that point. He does say that withdrawal symptoms are hard to get over. His wife and family keep him from going back to the drugs and all of that situation. WWE is the big daddy. He was shocked he was the main eventer for the Hall of Fame, knowing that he and Vince didn't talk for 11 years. WWE didn't have plans for Kurt to wrestle. He stopped wrestling and his body ended up getting bad. WrestleMania 38 was built to showcase Ronda Rousey. He likes Baron Corbin, but he didn't understand, he didn't want that to be his retirement match against Corbin. He thought he would have been treated a bit differently in WWE. In the 2017 Hall of Fame, Kurt was scared he wasn't going to be remembered by any of the WWE fans. And Kurt believes that his legacy is that he didn't become an icon as a babyface. He isn't the greatest of all time, but he believes he will be mentioned. And Kurt Angle and Stone Cold play the guitar to end this interview. This is a great interview. We got to learn a lot more about Kurt Angle. Kurt's one of my favorites. He has so many great matches, a great guy, so many great stories. But that is it for our Broken Skull Sessions recap on Kurt Angle. Our next Broken Skull series recap episode is with The Undertaker, One More Round. They'll be dropping soon. Stay tuned. Be safe, and we will talk to you soon.